Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online divorce, mediation, and valuation services in St. Louis, Missouri. Today, we will discuss turning disrupted leaders into a disruptive force with Michael Teape. Since 1994, Mike has been conducting business and personal effectiveness design and delivery training. He's been coaching, training the trainers, and developing training strategy for a wide spectrum of clients. He works for global corporations, leading training firms, and universities, as well as small and middle market businesses. From my standpoint, like in talking to some of these leaders and how they make conversations with other people to keep them in the calm, right? In some capacity. I also think that in another capacity, we have to start getting out of this mindset that we have control over the uncertainty, that we can somehow predict the future, or that we were good at doing it in the past and now we don't know how to. No, you weren't good at doing it, just things didn't change as rapidly. You just kind of were changing as slow as everything else was. And I think that, moving them out of that sense of security in knowing what the future is a false situation. Whereas if you start to say change is absolute, change will continue to happen, how do we then get in that mindset of being part of the ingenuity that change can create, as opposed to the fear of, oh, I won't be good anymore, or I was really good at what I did and now I'm going to have to learn something new. Like, how do we start to embrace it, because it's always going to happen?
Yeah, I think it helps a little bit of future state, which a lot of more senior leaders are better at. And that's probably why they're more calm than maybe subordinates, because their team members or employees, whatever you want to call them, they don't have the line of sight that you have. They don't have the data about where the organization is going. So you could be more of a calm person because you can see it, you can see it evolving, whereas they're like, what, you just told me this person's left and I'm moving division, what?
Right.
So that's some of the quick tips really, is to communicate more. And I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but to talk about what you said last time, where we are, where we're going to, we're going to have a temperature check, whatever you want to call it, a business update, and just make sure that people are aware of what you're trying out. Hey, we're working on this because this might be a possibility for the environment. So we don't know how that's going to work out. We're an incubator stage. That's what we're working on. If you want to get involved in that, anyone want to share some ideas? Oh, cool. So every time you communicate about bringing people together and thinking through ideas, which is the mindset you want them to have. You don't go around saying, well, this we've now got to deal with 25% reduction in staff because of the Great Resignation. What you do say is, hey, now that we've all noticed that there is a decrease in, we've got an increase in open position, a decrease in people actually in seats. Okay, perhaps it's time to think about what we can automate. What can we get out of our way so we don't have to be running around doing busy work? Yeah. What would you like to work on? Tell me what you'd like to work on and tell me what you want to get rid of. That is a disruptor in a disrupted environment. So you're right. It's all about conversations that we're having a one-on-one level and a team level, and coming into it with this, I'm curious. What do you think? I'm curious. Look, this is where we think this is going, but what can we do in order to make sure we can adapt? Because what's not relevant anymore? What's not relevant? What do we need to archive? And what you find then is egos come into play, which affects people's status. If I've met quite a few, it's funny, I work with different levels of leaders in organizations. So when I'm usually doing the mass management training, I tend to meet the mid-level. And it's very interesting when you then meet the senior leadership and they have a different view. Yeah. So that's happened a lot of times, about 6 or 7 times. And And they're the ones that don't want to get let go. Usually if they've founded something, if they've been with the organization for a long time and they're very proud of their achievements, it's very difficult to change the way they work. It's very difficult to be a disruptor, and they are disrupted. If they built, I was a brick and mortar, some manufacturing, say they built a manufacturing factory and all the rest of it, it's very difficult to just suddenly say, okay, we don't need this anymore.
Right.
Like, really? I spent 5 years building this. It is state of the art, fastest production line, fastest in and out of delivery supply. You know, they could name everything that's wonderful about it. That's a problem. That's a big red light. You have been disrupted, because we don't need that anymore. What we need is things like making sure the quality, or the customer still gets the quality, but we don't need the bricks and mortar. What would be better is if we sold that to people that actually want that building, and let our people stay remote, because they've got their remote and come into smaller areas, research labs for the next stage of your organization. You see where I'm going with this? It's ego. If you're proud you built something, you're going to be very difficult to be a disruptor. You're going to be more disruptive.